the Revenue Engine Room. Today we have a very good treat. This is your host, Georgina Salgado Chavez. I'm AI Consulting and Fractional CMO. What is that all about? Well, they help you to grow revenue and operational capacity. All right, now we have a very, very, very good guest with us. Her name is Tammy. She's an intuitive guide. She helps mature women like us to overcome stress. She can tell you more about herself. More than me, she knows her game. Hi, Tammy. How are you?
I am so well. Thank you so much, Georgina, for inviting me on your podcast.
You're welcome. Let me ask you, tell us, what do you exactly do? Because I tell them something, but it's not quite what you do. You do something very interesting. Can you please explain it to the public? What do you do?
Yeah. You know what? You mentioned something when you were introducing yourself that gave me an idea. You help with operational capacity. That is awesome. I help with emotional capacity.
Oh,
I help
cool.
with the internal world. So if we're talking about business women, we need to have the internal capacity to take on the stress of business, to take on the overwhelm. We have been living for other people for a very long time. The women I help especially, they have had it together for everybody else for most of their lives. They handle their business, they handle their families, they handle their households. I help with the overwhelm, the stress, and the mental load of all of that so that they have the capacity inside of themselves to grow and to soar.
That's kind of a lot of work. Inside work, basically. Let me ask you, why did you start doing this?
My goodness. So the story starts about 4 years ago. I was very successful in business. My husband and I were running a trucking company together, plus like 4 other businesses. We're kind of serial entrepreneurs. I've been an entrepreneur for about 20 years. We were the most successful we've ever been. On the inside, I was highly dissatisfied. There has to be more to life than making money. There has to be more to life than business. All we talked about, day and night, weekends, was business. I needed balance. So I started looking for a different path. I started looking for something that I could do perhaps without him as being a partner. A friend of mine started selling nail polish online, like one of those network marketing companies. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's something different. That's, I can do that. So I started doing that. What I discovered was that selling to women online is a completely and utterly different thing than selling transportation or carpet cleaning or something is very logical, something that's very task-oriented, transactional even. Selling to women online, coaches were telling me that you need to make women feel something to sell to them. At the time, I had no idea what that meant. What do you mean make them feel something? I was not feeling anything myself, really, except dissatisfaction and overwhelm. And I'm like, how? I was watching my stories on Instagram, following these other women who were doing this. One day I came across a woman who was crying on her stories. I think she sold makeup as a network marketing company. I saw that she was crying. She was lonely. She had just moved and she was just expressing some vulnerability, some emotion. And I felt something. And then the next day she went on and expressed gratitude for all of the people that, grouped around her, gave her the empathy that she was looking for and surrounded her with love and appreciation. I thought, well, that's how you make women feel something. Knowing now, that was 4 years ago. There's lots of other ways now. I know that now. But back then I had no idea. So I said, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try to cry on my stories and express some vulnerability and see if I can connect with the audience and see how it goes. So I started. I got my phone out to record. I thought of something sad that I wanted to share. I could feel the emotion rise in my body. I could feel like a little more heat. I could even feel where there was a little bit of water behind my eyes. Then my body went, nope, you're not feeling this anymore. And it completely went away.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, oh, that's weird. We'll try it again. So another day I tried it again, same thing. Tried it again, same thing. After 3 or 4 times, I was like, when was the last time I actually cried? And I thought back and it was over a year. That was abnormal for me. There was at least 1 to 3 times a year I would cry normally. I'm like, that's not normal that I can't actually get myself to cry. I went to therapy. I said, this needs to be solved. What is the problem here? It took me 4 months of therapy and listening to different podcasts and all of these different voices for me to be able to convince my body or to feel safe in my body enough to express, even in my own home, even alone. I couldn't do it, even alone. The thing that finally tipped it, I was listening to a business podcast, and it was this woman that had built her network marketing company from 0 to millions, and this was her journey. This is what she discovered in herself: the ability to cry, the ability to emote,
Oh, wow.
the ability to regulate, the ability to express what needs to be expressed in the moment, so that it's not buried, because when something is buried, you lose your capacity, so that it's expressed and leaves your body in the moment or within a few moments or at least a day. Then she said, in business, you really need to do this. You really need to be able to take care of your body on the inside for you to be able to take care of everything else on the outside.
That's something that I can tell you for a fact. I experiment myself. I used to own a business with employees and all the shebang, all the paperwork and contracts and all the stuff. I got to the point where I got really, really sick that my body just cannot get back to normal. I actually lost my business due to the fact that I was sick all the time and all the stress and responsibility was getting into my body. I can tell you for a fact that that's something that a lot of business women especially suffer with. The stigma that no crying is very, very, very common. We're supposed to be very tough in business. We're supposed to show a face that sometimes we're falling apart inside, and especially with all the responsibilities in charge of the house. We're in charge of the kids. We're in charge of the husband. We're in charge of the mother-in-law, the brother-in-law, everybody else except us. Nobody's in charge of us, though. I'm glad that you're doing this job. It's very important. Now, let me ask you, for instance, if you were in business and you start going this route, when did you say, this is the business for me, versus this is just something, my story, this is my problem, I have to keep hiding it, I have to stay away, rather than you just say, well, this is my problem, and now I'm going to make a business out of it? Can you tell me what is the story behind that?
So how I became this guide that I am.
Made it out of you a story, you made it into a business.
Yeah, absolutely. It was about 2 years into my journey, because once I started learning how to feel better in my body, I didn't stop. Like, it didn't stop with therapy. I went to many different therapists. I went to many different coaches. I followed many different people. I heard many different voices so that I could get the truth kind of from everybody. And there was a point that I felt so good inside my body that I said, it'd be criminal if I didn't bring this to other women. It would be criminal to not share what I have learned with the world. I can't tell you how fulfilling this work has been for me. I have never in my life, in all of my businesses and all of my jobs, ever been so fulfilled and happy with the work that I do. It is changing lives, and it's changing my life every time I help somebody else. And it's the most rewarding. I can't tell you.
So in the end of the day, it's worth it.
Absolutely. It's absolutely worth it. Yeah.
If you see a woman out there struggling in business, and you see that she has a lot of stress, that you see that she's struggling with juggling all the hats that she has on, what would you say to her?
There's so much, Georgina. I don't know one thing. There's not one thing that can solve this, because it's a journey. It's a journey that they have to start somewhere. It's a journey that they have to start putting themselves first. I was talking with a shaman last year, and she was telling me, women, well, everybody, in fact, everybody, men and women, we need to put ourselves first, second, and third. First, second, and third. Our husband and our kids are fourth. And everything else is after that. After that. If we don't put ourselves first, second, and third, we do not have the capacity to be able to take care of everybody else. If we fill ourselves so full, then we can share from the overflow. And it's abundant. There's no end. There is no end to the overflow and impact we can have to other people.
But also it's a stigma in that part of it that you just mentioned, because most of us, we try to say we're not supposed to be selfish. We're not supposed to be thinking about us only. We're supposed to be compassionate and give it to others. But my thing is, if you are not well together yourself, how are you going to give it to others what you offer? You don't have nothing to offer in that case. What do you think about the people that think are selfish if you do that?
That's such a horrible stigma that's out there. Oh my goodness. And I prescribe to it too. I absolutely prescribe to it. I had to change that belief inside me, because what is the most selfless thing is to give with abundance, to give without making somebody else guilty. What if you're giving from an empty cup, but then you're bitter about it? They're not doing their part. That's not right either, right? If we're bitter from other people, or we're frustrated with other people because they're not giving to us like we're giving to them, that's not good either. I heard this quote once: I'll work on me for you, and you work on you for me. It's not the other way around.
Well, when you go in the plane, what did they say? Put the mask first, and then you help others to put the mask. So it's not just you putting the mask to others, and then at the very end you put it yourself, right? So that's similar to what you're saying. Now, let me ask you a question. For instance, in your line of work, people are not very good at showing emotions for whatever reason, especially in the business world. Who shows you more resistance, men or women?
It really depends on the person. Probably more men than women, because men were typically raised as children. Like, we all learned this as kids. Like, this was our upbringing. So there's no fault. And our parents were raised like this. Like, we can't be blaming our parents because they were raised that way. Like, this is generation upon generation upon generation. Oh my goodness, I have lost the original question. I went off on a tangent. Can you ask that question again?
To show emotions, females or males?
Right. Females definitely can show a more emotion, more sadness, more of the downwards and inwards emotions. However, men are just as emotional with anger. Anger was one of the emotions that seemed to be okay to express as a child, or growing up as a teen. Anger seemed to be okay. Under anger, there's always sadness. There's always another emotion under there that they just don't know how to express. So women express sadness better, and women have a harder time expressing anger, actually, because that's a no-no growing up, when women express anger, when girls express anger. It's just different, right? We're each taught what is good and what is quote-unquote bad growing up.
Give us like a tip or a secret sauce, just a small one. I know that you have to do more than one session, or you have to do more than one thing. Give us one thing that you think that is very powerful. It can make a difference to the people that listening to us. We can get some sort of results. Of course, they have to call you back to get the whole shebang, right? Give us one little framework that you use for you therapy, guidance, or whatever it is that you do.
Yeah, so I'm going to give you a breathing technique, because this breathing technique I find is very powerful in the moment of stress. It's called the physiological sigh. And what you do is you take a deep breath in, and then you take another sip of air at the very top, and then a slow, long exhale. You do this over and over again for perhaps 3 minutes, and you will find a huge difference in your chest, in your breathing, in your stress level. Basically, stress is tightness. Stress is an inward tension in your muscles. You're holding things together. That's the stress. These sighs expand, relax your muscles, relax your body. So the physiological sigh, I think, for me anyway, because there's many different breathing techniques you could use, In the moment, for me, that physiological sigh is so, so powerful. I do it right before I go on stages to speak. It just calms my nerves in the moment so well.
That's kind of cool. I hope that everybody practice it. I know that breathing is a major, major, major thing for our body, for our health. I can tell you when I was in clinic, I used to sit down with my patient to teach them how to breathe. Because a lot of people, they are so much stressed out, so much into the today, go, going with the kids, going to play ball, going to do everything else, but they forget how to breathe. Many people I find out in clinic, when I was in clinic every single day, I was teaching them how to breathe. Normally, people, when they're under stress, they breathe backwards. They breathe backwards rather than fill out. When they inhale the air, they contract. Basically, they are not getting the oxygen that they need to get in order for them to have a quality life. One more thing. I put you in the spot now. If you are an entrepreneur, what would you do in order for you to take care of yourself? What would you recommend? Like, for instance, it can be the breathing, but it can be walking, it can be whatever else. But maybe you have a secret that people can start putting in their mind and say, listen, I'm going to do that. And then maybe I can call Tammy to help me out to overcome my problems. What would you tell them to do?
So I have something. I have a free PDF that I would love to share with your listeners, because this is something that they can do. So in this PDF, it goes through all of the emotions: anger, frustration, the really, really hard, the intense emotions, like high energy, intense outward emotion. Then it goes through sadness, which is a really inward, kind of more cuddly kind of emotion. It goes through 5 or 6 emotions, and it tells you the techniques that you could use to help process that emotion out of your body. Because sadness, perhaps it needs crying. Sadness, perhaps it needs a hug. Perhaps it needs speaking with somebody else, co-regulation with somebody else. Perhaps it needs hugging a pillow. Anger, perhaps it needs hitting your pillow. Perhaps it needs doing jumping jacks. There's different emotions require different actions. I would love to be able to offer your listeners
that
this.
would be nice. But also to do the PDF teach you how the emotion manifests in your body?
It doesn't teach how it manifests. Because that's a long story. How it manifests goes back to childhood, goes back to what you learned in childhood, and all the way through the years. You've gained these strategies. You've believed these thoughts that other people have told you. The stories that are running through your unconscious mind that you aren't even aware of affect how you feel. And that's a lot of the work I do, is I help people with their bodies relieving stress, but I also help them with their limiting beliefs, with those beliefs and those stories that have been running around in their heads for decades. I can help them dissolve those stories so that that stress doesn't affect them anymore, so that they aren't triggered anymore in the same situations that they used to be triggered. That was a really, really fun thing that started happening to me, especially with my husband, because we were business partners. You know, he would say something that was triggering to me, and then I would be having the same conversation months later, and I'd be like, I'm not triggered anymore. This what we're saying doesn't trigger me anymore. So I didn't even need to regulate my body and use those tools, because I didn't get affected in the first place.
Basically, you were healing of your emotional problems. That's what it is. Or maybe you already know how to manage it, the emotions. What would it be?
So I was healing.
Oh, that's good.
I was healing. Yeah, absolutely. All of those beliefs that I had to all be healed. Yeah, 100% I was healing.
That's very good. How long you been in business?
2 years now.
All
Even
right.
though this recent entrepreneurial journey has been 2 years, and it's been wonderful. It's been absolutely wonderful. I can't tell you how important this work is to me. It's so rewarding.
And where they can find you, Tammy? If they're looking for you, are they looking for the job that you do? Where they can find you? Do you have a website? Do you have a physical address? Or how they can find you?
Yeah, so the easiest place is probably Facebook or Instagram. So we can put the links, I assume we can put links below in your podcast. Yeah. So I'm just Tammy Perrin on Facebook, and on Instagram it's at Tammy Perrin's Life. But
Can you spell it? Because Perrin can be P-A-R-A-N-T, but it can be a different way to write it. Tammy can write it with 2 M's. I put 2 M's, but maybe it's a 1 M. Can you spell it for them, please?
Absolutely. So it's TammyPerrin.
So Tammy Perrin and Facebook. Well, that's good. Anything else that you want to tell us that you can help the listeners to take care of themselves and the work that you do for others?
I don't know if I can tell them anything else, but I do want to reiterate that the most important thing they can do for themselves is put themselves first, second, and third. And that belief is not selfish. It is so that they can take care of everybody else in a better way.
Thank you, Tammy. Well, you listened from the guru, Tammy. Please visit her on Facebook. Again, come back to the Revenue Engine Room to visit us. We're going to have a lot of these insights from others. And Tammy, probably you can come back again to see us. Hopefully you do. Give us more insight for others to take care of themselves. See you next time, and we're going to finish with this.
Like to party. We like to party.
Thank you, and